أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Before we start, we must reflect on what's going on first before we dive into our topic or our book. If you wake up in the morning and you heard news that Mecca, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect al-Kaaba and al-Masjid al-Haram. If you wake up in the morning and you hear that the Masjid al-Haram is under attack, and people who have been to al-Masjid al-Haram in Medina for Umrah or Hajj, if you wake up in the morning and you find that the Kaaba was destroyed, and there are people who are causing harm into al-Masjid al-Haram with all the filth that is you could imagine in this dunya, what would your reaction be? Anybody has any reaction? They would at least care. Yeah. What's happening now is as equivalent as if this was on Mecca and Medina. And I'm not here to tell you the news. You've been watching the news for a few days now. And Palestine and Gaza, Palestine is not just a place. It's not just a country that belongs to the Arab or to a group of people. Palestine is a country of every Muslim. The Masjid al-Aqsa is one of the three masajid that the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned not to travel with an intention to pray except to those three, al-Masjid al-Haram, al-Masjid al-Nabawi, and the Masjid al-Aqsa. So al-Masjid al-Nabawi and Masjid al-Aqsa is as sacred as al-Masjid al-Haram. Same behaviors of Muslims if they wake up in the morning hearing that al-Masjid al-Haram is under attack. Should be the same feeling toward the Masjid al-Aqsa. And we care because we're Muslims. And of course, nowadays the media plays a great role in presenting truth as falsehood and falsehood as truth. Okay, they're able to convince you, and you see now with the recent attacks and incidents, they have no problem killing civilians and thousands of people, children, women, no issue. Their minister came out calling them animals, cutting off electricity, water, food, no problem. That's normal to the East and the West. But on the other hand, if anything happens on the other side, then the whole media, the Biden came out and said, we need to be clear, we're 100% supporting, and so on and so forth. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, al-mu'minuna ba'duhum awliya'u ba'd. The believers, they are allies with one another. And the disbelievers and the hypocrites are allies with one another. Normal. So it's a normal behavior that is expected. But as a Muslim individual, our obligation toward our brothers and sisters is what I always say, not just the support, the emotional support, but the sincere support to the capacity that you're able to and capable of. Okay? I personally I came up with a suggestion. I don't know what you guys think. This Thursday, we could do an after Maghrib event, emergency event, we'll call it, to read a book called The Virtue of al-Masjid al-Aqsa, or the sacred land of al-Aqsa, al-Quds. Okay? And this book by Diyauddin al-Maqdisi, he was actually one of the soldiers of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, who conquered al-Masjid al-Aqsa and gained it back after 90 years. Al-Masjid al-Aqsa was under occupation for 90 years. But at that time, not even adhan was allowed to be called. Till Salahuddin al-Ayyubi came and he freed al-Masjid al-Aqsa and fought into many wars with the Crusaders and others. So Diyauddin al-Maqdisi was a child who migrated away from Palestine and back to Palestine with Salahuddin as one of the soldiers, and he wrote this book, The Virtues of Baytul Maqdis, Fada'il Baytul Maqdis. And he collected about 60 ahadith into the virtues of Baytul Maqdis. So I thought of reading it maybe on Thursday, if you guys are ready. And then we pray, inshallah, with Surah Al-Isra, Aisha, make dua for our brothers and sisters, because this is the minimum we could do. I'm not going to say the most we could do, to be honest, because there's a lot that people could do nowadays, especially even spreading out the news and telling people about it and making people, teaching people about it. And I'll be very open and very honest. I don't think anything will change with protests and burning flags and all that. That's just burning your energy out, and at the end you go home and sleep. I know why people do it, and I feel their sadness and I feel their anger, and I know. But at the end, then what? What's if we raise the flag saying free Palestine, then we go home, we don't do our salah. If we raise a flag, then we go, we're not even connected to what we're saying. Nothing will be gained back except by the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't know how many of you guys have my Instagram. Oh, mashallah, good. Only one person. Alhamdulillah. I have enough followers. Alhamdulillah. But, there's a post today that I really liked from Shaykh al-Mujahideen, one of the fighters at the time of the when Italy invaded Libya, Shaykh Umar al-Mukhtar. You guys have watched the Line of, what is it called? The Line of the Desert? Yeah, you watched the movie. Shaykh Umar al-Mukhtar, somebody asked him, they said, yeah, Shaykh, how could we defeat them? They have airplanes, they could do like air forces, very strong air, they could shoot at us anytime, they could strike at any moment. He said to them, these planes that they have flies under the throne of Allah or above the throne of Allah? So they told him, no, of course, under the throne. He said, alhamdulillah, we have the power of who's above the throne. Okay, so his power is more than their power. But the moment of iman and faith in the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also the happiness for the victory, even if it's partial victory. And this is a sign of hypocrisy, by the way. Those people who only come out and they shout, they're never happy with anything that the Muslim ever achieved. Those people they're always down. No optimistic, nothing. There's not even 1%. They have, or they don't like to see that happiness in the face of, the first day when I woke up on Saturday and saw the news, the first thing that captured my mind is when I was, how old was I? 9, 8. And my dad was carrying me on his shoulder, walking out in a protest in Egypt because of Muhammad al-Durra. And you guys were too young to remember, but we know who's Muhammad al-Durra, the famous child who was hiding behind his father, and they shot him. His father's still alive. That picture was firing up. Like at that time, when people saw it, and subhanAllah, I just remember that day, and I said, look, 20 years later, you're waking up on a news like that, but not that they're getting attacked, now they're the one attacked. They're not the one being defeated. And subhanAllah, it's rotation of the days. It is rotation of the days. تِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it like that. Nobody ever gains victory at all time or defeat at all time. But the problem is, do we really deserve the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And we should be part of it. Salahuddin al-Ayyubi rahimahullah ta'ala and Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, he used to, in the battle of Yarmouk al-Qadisiyah, when he passes by a tent and he finds the soldiers sleeping at night, and he tells them, he says that, he looks at this tent and he said, I'm afraid that defeat will come from this tent. Then when he sees another tent of soldiers praying all night, he says, I hope that the victory of Allah will come upon us from this tent. And we just do our part. And the part that we have to do, honestly, is sincere dua. Okay, they tell you they don't need anything from you. They just need your dua, your supplication. If you can't even give that, then we have reached a level of weakness that there is no other defeat after that. If you're defeated emotionally, then it's done. You can't even raise your hand and make dua. Just at night, wallah, before you sleep, 2 rak'ah between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't have to be in a masjid, you don't have to be in public. Just feel their sadness. Look at what happened today, the airstrike today in Gaza, yesterday. Thousands of civilian people, they're dead. On the other hand, you see people tell, oh, don't touch them, we're Muslims, we're not gonna touch them, we're not gonna harm you. These people don't care, they just tell you, we're gonna cut everything till you die. That's the point. The woman came out screaming because her son was taken captured, and she said, just kill them, destroy them. No problem. This is how they think of their life is worth nothing. That's Gaza. But the others, oh, their life is sacred. So the most that they ever need from you is your dua. Wallahi, qiyamul layl, 2 rak'ah, coming together to support. Do what you can. Now we have the tools of media. We need to work on. Because we can't just be back, we can't be behind on everything. Muslims are. We wait till we become what? We're reacting to every event now. We never the lead. And those, subhanAllah, look, with little tools, they've been planning it. This is the preparation that Allah said. Every preparation, your study is a preparation. Lista'dad, economic-wise, educational-wise, everything. We have to prepare from all means. We need engineers, we need doctors, we need people who could help with we need those minds. Muslim minds who are willing to help and support and put effort into raising this ummah from the level of defeat that they're in today. So if you guys are ready, I think we should do it on Thursday. Okay? Thursday after Maghrib, we'll start reading the book Fadail Bayt al-Maqdis, the virtue of Bayt al-Maqdis. We should be able to finish all 60 hadith because some of them are weak and some of them we could skip. And the point of this reading is that we hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this recitation and this reading those virtues as an encouragement to our heart to connect more to Palestine and Masjid al-Aqsa that Allah blessed. It's not our choice. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose places, times, people. Okay, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses and favors whom He wants. Allah chooses the Prophet, He makes the best among them, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses places, and then He chose Mecca and Medina and Al-Aqsa. Allah chooses the months, He creates them, and He chooses Ramadan and Allah. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَرَبُّكَ يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيَخْتَارُ. Allah is the one who creates, and Allah is the one who chooses. So when Allah gives virtue to something, that means He honored that thing. Okay? We always talk about places, Syria, Kashmir. We spoke about what happened in Afghanistan. We spoke about the attack that happened in. We speak about every country, but Al-Quds and Al-Masjid al-Aqsa is special. It has to be, because it's not just a place that is being attacked. It's a holy place, sacred place, religious place that is being taken away from the Muslims by force, and it's being attacked. So it's carrying both. And we are commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take those places as sacred places to respect and to honor, to a point that we travel with an intention of salah. So I'm going to do that inshallah on Thursday after Maghrib. And I'll send you the book inshallah. Alhamdulillah, I found the translation of it. Sheikh sent it to me today. So we'll do a reading of it inshallah. And we'll comment on the hadith. And we hope that this is, I just feel bad saying that this is all we could do, but this is the least we could do. Okay, to come together in the masjid of Allah, the house of Allah, raising our hands together, reading this book inshallah, as a mean, as a tool, as a mean for our dua to be accepted, that we're reading the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where the barakah and the blessing comes upon us, and then we raise our hand after that and make dua for them inshallah. So anyone who could attend on Thursday, Let's do it, inshallah. I'll send you the book. If you could print it, print it. If you can, just bring it with you on your phone. We would read it, comment on it, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give our brothers and sisters victory, and may Allah protect them and save their lives and their honor and their dignity. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept their shuhada, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give them the support and to bless them with His power and His support. And this is all they need. إِن يَنْصُرْكُمُ اللَّهُ فَلَا غَالِبَ لَكُمْ. If Allah gives you victory, no one could defeat you. No one could withdraw it away from you if Allah gives it to you. So that's why we always make dua for Allah to give us His victory, for us to deserve the victory for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Have hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is near you when you call upon Him. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save their lives and to protect them under this attack. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless them with patience and acceptance of the qadr and the qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma. طيب, let's start inshallah. Sorry we took a little longer, but let's, where you said we were at? Line 1? كذا. طيب. قال كذا حكاية مقال ناطقي في جنب الأنبياء بغير لائق ما لم يسقه غرض شرعي له كأن يحذره غبي. He said, line 14 from the. Let me ask you first. Let's just refresh, because I know a lot of you are sleepy by now or maybe sad. I wanted to cancel the class today, but just feeling bad. Just watching the news makes my heart just feel the sorrow and the sadness. But at the same time, I have so much hope in what happens. I'm just happy. Just happy that Allah, just happy that there are men out there who are children at a point of time, that they are carrying on the honor of this ummah. Just saying, the men have grown. That's all we're saying. The men have grown, and they're defending our honor, our izzah. So the least we could do is just to live with them with our hearts. Just to, I don't want you to pass through the news just going scrolling and being okay. I just want you to stop with every news and look at it and get your heart to feel that sadness. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, Wallahi, every step you have taken, you had a group of people who got the full reward like you. قال يا رسول الله, they didn't come out with us. They were in Medina. قال حبسهم العذر. They were locked by an excuse. And we hope that we're not among those people. He said they're weak, their children, their elders, their women. They stayed behind. They couldn't come. They had an excuse not to come. But they got the reward of every step you have taken. This is in the Battle of Tabuk, which was called the Battle of Hardship. They said, Ya Rasulullah, how come? He said they were making dua for you at all time till your return. So Allah gave them the reward of every action that you have done. So if we're not with them, at least we say we feel your pain. We feel it. Even we don't have to say it in public. We don't have to go out and say, I feel their pain. It's in the heart. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept you. So what are some of the prohibition of the tongue that we spoke about? Bismillah. Why are the sisters are okay back? Yeah. Are you locked in the back? It's empty. Bismillah. Huh? What is the first prohibition of the tongue that we spoke about? Yeah. Huh? Okay. Mumtaz. Huh? Number 2. We say making anything positive or good that is haram. 2, making anything that is haram, that is halal, sounds evil, or speaking about it. 3, not supporting the oppressed. Allahu Akbar. That's actually related again to the same topic. Okay, not supporting the oppressors. Okay, and speaking out against the oppression. Speaking out against the oppression. So Prohibition of the tongue is not to let your tongue slip and stand, as we said, the last thing I remember we said, if we cannot stand with the truth, then at least we should not side with falsehood. Okay? If you can't say the truth, this is better to return to Allah quiet, silent, than coming in the day of judgment, being among those who are with the oppressors. Okay? Like, number 3, قال كذا حكاية مقال ناطقي. So it is also prohibited to relay what is heretics, meaning what the heretics are saying that have said about the prophets. So it is not permissible for an individual to insult a prophet or to speak ill or bad of them or to mock them or to speak of anything that they have done in a way that is evil. And also not repeating things that others have said about their religion unless, he said, unless there is a legislation reasoning for it, meaning unless you're saying those stories, okay, for a valid reason, such as warning an ignorant person. Yani you're telling people don't say this because someone used to say that. قالت اليهود وقالت اليهود يد الله مغلولة غلت أيديهم ولعنوا بما قالوا. If someone is repeating this verse and they're reciting that, they're reciting a statement of the disbelievers, you shouldn't repeat those statements unless you clarify that you're not the one saying it. You're just repeating it to teach someone, to tell someone don't say that, or you're telling someone this is what they said. That's not what you said. So that's what he means. قال كذاك أن يقول في غير تلاوة عصى آدم ربه على. Again, it is also as he gave you an example. He said it is like a person. It is prohibited to mention a prophet. No, it is also prohibited to say Adam disobeyed his Lord if one is not reciting Quran. So you shouldn't say Adam disobeyed Allah. It's disrespectful to say that. Okay, you're saying Adam alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made his qadar for him to disobey, so he would be kicked out of Jannah for us to live on earth. But you shouldn't be talking to someone. For example, you're saying to someone, subhanallah, you're just like the son of Adam. Adam did it before, he disobeyed Allah. That's very disrespectful, talking about a prophet like that. And a lot of time you read in other than the Quran, the scripts that they claim that it's, whether it's the Bible or the Tawrat or whatever the books are, there is a lot of stories about the prophets that are unbelievable to accept as a narration, even about a prophet, like the story of Dawood alayhi salam, David, and what happened, and in his life. Very disrespectful. When you read it, you say, no way a normal human being would behave like this. Imagine a prophet. Okay, so when you're narrating a story, or when you're telling a story to someone, do not narrate it in a way that sounds like you're insulting or you're speaking ill or about a prophet. So Adam alayhi salam, he disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for a reason, for hikmah, for wisdom, for us to be here today. Okay, but we shouldn't say like someone was leading salah and he said فعصى آدم ربه وعصى آدم ربه فغوى الله أكبر. That's unbelievable. Adam disobeyed Allah and he was misguided. Allahu Akbar. I said to myself, if he finished the other ayah says Allah have chosen him and Allah has led him to repent and he accepted his repentance. Why did he stop here and said Allahu Akbar? That gives the very bad impression. Allah, one more ayah only. Okay, and then the problem would be solved. So when we're speaking about a prophet, we have to speak in the best manner. Okay, in the best manner about this prophet, regardless. And that's why a lot of people, they tell you, for example, when you talk about the seerah, Muhammad, he did this, and who's Muhammad? Nobody said anything. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Exactly. Can you imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, he never called the Prophet ﷺ by his name? Never. Allah never called upon him by name. he did to every prophet. قال يا آدم, يا إبراهيم, يا نوح, يا زكريا, يا يحيى. Every prophet Allah called him. When he came to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, يا أيها النبي, يا أيها الرسول. Never called upon him. Even when he mentioned his name, he gave him the title. He didn't call upon him. He said, Muhammadun Rasulullah. وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ. Look at this is respect. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking, not me and you. He's calling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah could call Rasulullah by any name he wishes subhanahu wa ta'ala. He could call him Ya Muhammad. It's Allah who created him. Allah is above everybody. And he called all the prophets like that. But the Prophet ﷺ, when he came to him, he said what? Ya ayyuhan nabi, O Prophet of Allah, do this. But when he came to Adam, Ibrahim is the best after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How did Allah call upon him? قال يا إبراهيم قد صدقت الرؤيا. Ibrahim. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he holds a status. And all the prophets do. Okay? قال الله عز وجل لا نفرق بين أحد. We do not differentiate between the prophets. Yani we do not say there is one who's better than the other because the other. La. We say they all are great. They're chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But of course, the virtue that Allah gives to individuals over the others for his qadr. He has a plan for that. So when you speak about a prophet, you speak in the best of manners. When you say a prophet, you say sallallahu alayhi. Okay? Or you say, Prophet so-and-so said. You don't say, Nuh got on the ark and he was so... Who's Nuh? Seriously. He is either Prophet Nuh or Nuh alayhi salam. So it's either you say Prophet Nuh, okay? Or you say Nuh alayhi salam. Either or. But just giving a prophet by his name or calling him by his name. That's one. Two, the stories about the prophet, you must investigate. Not every story that you hear is true. There's a lot of weak narrations when it comes to the story of the prophets. Okay? Because they have done certain things that it's impossible to believe upon a prophet. So you have to make sure, is this story correct? Did he really do that? Or is just made up story? So that's what the Shaykh is referring to. Okay? قال وذكر قال كذاك أن يقول في غير تلاوة عصى آدم ربه على يعني سبحانه وتعالى على كل شيء قال وذكر أن لاقى نبي كدر ما لم يكن راويا أو مذاكرا للعلماء ونحوهم ممن لا يخاف إن يسمعه أن يضل. He said, such as you do not mention a story of a prophet and what he went through, except if you're discussing it as narration, like Ayyub alayhi salam. Ayyub alayhi salam, some narration said that he got sick for how many years? 80. Okay? About the story that his wife couldn't even handle him and his children left him and all that, it's not true. And when you mention it, you say, if you guys don't follow Allah's command, you're going to be like Ayyub. What do you mean? He's a prophet that Allah tested with sickness for a reason. So you shouldn't use him as an example to warn people from something that he's not there for that. Okay? You understand that? So he said, unless you're narrating the story, like if I'm telling you the story of the prophet, we would have to talk about Ayyub's sickness and what happened to him and how people stopped visiting him because it was so long. When you go visit someone who's sick at the hospital, if you had any family member, may Allah protect all your family members, Allahumma ameen. If you have any family member and they get sick, you go visit them first day, second day, third day, then you start getting a little bored. Okay, if they're in coma for like a month, you won't go every day. You'll go every other day, then every week, and then then if they're longer, then people might not go at all. So that's a lesson we could take. But this is not there for us to look down upon a prophet or speak ill of a prophet. He said, unless you're speaking to scholars or someone of knowledge, and you shouldn't mention to someone if you're afraid that this person would misunderstand. Okay? And this is the case that you should always take in your life. Do not speak to someone of something, even if it's true, that you think his mind cannot accept or adore. Okay? You understand? Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he said, I have so much knowledge, if I would just spread, it will cause a lot of fitna. So I like to keep it because I know a lot of people would not understand. There's a lot of things that people might not understand. Like when you start, like in fiqh, for example, there's a lot of topic in fiqh that are very sensitive. And when I say sensitive, not sensitive because it's haram to talk about. It's if you start speaking about it, it might cause more harm than benefit because people might not understand your point. If you're holding an opinion that is valid, I'm not talking about non-valid opinion. I'm talking about an opinion that is valid, but it's very strange. Like, for example, if three says one thing of the scholars and one, because we have four madhab, and one of the fourth says otherwise. And we agree that the three are more strong because their evidence are strong. But also the fourth has a point. If someone were to bring that opinion as a strange opinion and spread it among people, people might leave the masjid thinking that, oh, the sheikh said today that this was halal. Or you know what? I actually found an opinion that he said it was, oh, final. Especially nowadays. Nowadays, a lot of people, they just want the fatwa shop. Wallahi, they're just waiting for you to say something, boom, they'll take it. Okay? You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention names now. If you say something to okay, let's skip that part. I'm not into the mood of but the point is, do not tell someone something on behalf of Allah and His Prophet that they won't understand. Speak to people at their level. Ali ibn Abi Talib said, أَتُحِبُّونَ أَنْ يُكَذَّبَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. Why would you speak to people of matters that they would not understand, then they would disbelieve in what Allah and His Prophet said? Like they'll tell you, no way the Prophet would say that. Islam, you haven't taught them anything yet. You haven't taught them to respect Allah, to obey Allah, and you're bringing them these strange opinions. And there are opinions out there that you would find it very strange. Especially if I'm in public, I like to be very careful. I wouldn't present all the opinions to people, to individuals, because I know there's one person who's sitting there. He just wants to hear one thing and act upon it and keep saying, oh, see, I told you there's a way out. I'm not going to give you that way out because you're not doing it for a reason. You're doing it because of a desire. All right? That example is just kicking in my mind. La, in and out is not that. No, I'm talking about it. I was taught, okay. قال وذكر ما بين الصحابة شجر إلا مبينا أنهم على بصر. Now, line 19 said, and you also do not, it's prohibited to mention what has occurred among the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet, unless to clarify that they were on clear guidance. We spoke about this in the Aqidah class. So for anybody who was not in Davis, I'm not going to repeat what happened between the Sahaba. Because what happened between the Sahaba, a person cannot speak about it unless they have two things. Anybody remember what are the two things? I made it as a rule. We said anyone who wants to speak of the fitna of the Sahaba, they must have two things before they speak about what happened between the companions. Like, let me just go back. Do you know what happened between the companions? Oh my God. Okay, I won't blame the people that I see for the first time, but the people who have been here in Davis 20 years now. You guys know what happened between the companions, yeah? The fight that took place between Ali radiallahu anhu and Muawiyah, the fight that took place between Ali and Talha and Zubayr, the disagreement and the dispute that took place, that they fought one another and they killed one another. They fought in wars. So people cannot speak about this era of time unless they have two things. One is yeah. So what's the a person should speak about it with two things. We already said piety and knowledge. Piety and knowledge. You have to be pious, knowing that these Sahaba, Allah is pleased with them, regardless of what they did. Allah accepted them. Radiallahu anhum. They are accepted by Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already granted them Jannah. Okay, for example, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, when he went out after the killing of Uthman, and he wanted to delay the revenge from the killers of Uthman. The ones who wanted to take revenge from the killers of Uthman were Muawiyah in Damascus, Talha and Zubayr in Medina. So they left to Mecca. They convinced Aisha radiallahu anha to come out with them, because if the Sahaba saw Aisha in the middle, they'll stop the fight. So they wanted to bring her to reconcile. So when Aisha got out and they had the gathering to reconcile, they agreed upon, Khalas, Ali is our Khalifa, Talha and Zubayr, and Aisha is going back to Mecca, Talha and Zubayr are going back with Ali ibn Abi Talib, and then they would reconcile, become one army, take revenge from the killers of Uthman. Fine. At night time, some of those who revolted against Uthman came and they burned both tents, the tents of Ali and the tents of Talha and Zubayr and Aisha. And then when they went to Ali, they were killing his people by the name of Aisha and Talha. And when they went to Talha's tents, they were killing their people by the name of Ali. So each group thought that the other group what? Betrayed them. So the war started the second day. Aisha was in the middle, radiallahu anha, and the Sahaba, they surrounded her camel, and that's why it was called the Battle of the Camel. So when the people who revolted against Uthman wanted to kill Aisha, and they wanted to, because if they kill Aisha, it will burn the fire more between the Sahaba. So what happened? Abdurrahman, Ali told him, go and slaughter the camel of Aisha, get her out of trouble and take her back, and then we'll solve the problem. Because the more that she's in, more fight will take place, because people are going to defend her regardless. So people are being dead. So this is one of the other battle between Ali and Muawiyah. Muawiyah is Uthman's uncle, Uthman's cousin. He wanted to take revenge for Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. So Ali ibn Abi Talib told Muawiyah, we will do that, but not now. And Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, he said, no, I want to take revenge for my cousin. So there's the war, the battle of Siffin. The battle of Siffin went on for days. 70,000 people got killed. That's a lot. At that time, today when we say 70,000, a lot of people are like, so what? Corona took more than that. By the qadr of Allah, of course. But 70,000 at their time means almost the Muslims who existed. Like this was the state of Islam. So Ali ibn Abi Talib and Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, they reconciled, and they had to sign a treaty between them, because the battle took longer than it's supposed to be. So this fight, all these names that I just mentioned to you are companions of Rasulullah. And all of them are guaranteed Jannah by Rasulullah. So no one has the right to speak about what happened among the Sahaba, except if they have what? Knowledge and piety. They're pious. Because most of the narration that came in that era of time did not come from Ahl Sunnah. And just keep it like that. A lot of the narration that came about this era of time came from other than Ahl Sunnah, and a lot of the narration that came in the books of Ahl Sunnah are added with the chains of non-Ahl Sunnah narration. And we already spoke about this in details when we spoke about the fitna of the Sahaba and the battle. Someone like Talha and Zubayr. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Talha is a shaheed in Jannah, and as Zubayr will be killed, and the one who kills him was going to hellfire, and as Zubayr is going to Jannah. So we cannot come and say now, because we believe that Ali was upon the truth, by the way. This is obvious. Everybody believe that? 100%. Because Rasulullah sallam, he said what? He said, the one who's the oppressors at that time from the two believers groups. So he called them what? Believers. But he said, the one who's upon the truth would be the one who has Ammar in his army, or the ones who kill Ammar are the oppressors. Ammar was in Ali's army. And when he got killed, Muawiyah was very smart too. Muawiyah is he's a genius. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wrote the Mus'haf, he wrote the Quran after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He trusted him with the Quran. Muawiyah said, we didn't kill him. It was you guys who killed him because you brought him out to fight at age 80. So it's you who killed him, not us. So each one of the group was holding an opinion. When we're looking at it today, you guys have to think of history this way. When you're looking at history, you're not in it. You're out of it. So you're sitting out there. It's like, you know how the kids, when they watch a movie, or even us, when we're watching a movie, okay, I'm into soccer. I don't know about basketball or soccer. I know more about soccer. When we were watching a soccer game, the guys were sitting outside. They're like, if he kicked it that way, if I was the coach, I would move. Like, yeah, because you're just sitting here. You're not in the game. I'm in the game. I played soccer. I know how it is. If I knew how to kick it like that, I would have done it, man. Why are we sitting? Because we're outside. We're just looking at it. So right now, when we're looking at the Sahaba, we're outside of it. We're just saying, why did they even fight? Why didn't they just solve the problem? Why didn't they just let Ali radiallahu anhu rule and the story is over? Why did Muawiyah have to? Why? Because Rasulullah said it will happen. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is a prophecy of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the hadith of al-Bukhari and Muslim, when Rasulullah sallallahu was sitting down and his feet was in the well of water, and Abu Bakr Siddiq came in and he said to Abu Musa, he said, guard outside, don't let anyone in. He said, okay, till I give you permission. Abu Bakr came, he said, I want to go inside. He said, Ya Rasulullah, Abu Bakr wants to go in. He said, give him permission and tell him that he's granted Jannah, period. So Abu Bakr is where? Jannah. There is no doubt. We can't come today and say, well, what happened? Rasulullah died and Abu Bakr was promised Jannah. Then Umar came. He said, I want to go in. So Abu Musa said, Ya Rasulullah, Umar is outside by the door. Should I let him in? He said, yeah, let him in and give him the glad tidings of Jannah. So Umar is Jannah, period. There is no discussion. It's not us. We don't have the keys to Jannah or hellfire. Now, Uthman came. Rasulullah, he said, who's at the door, Ya Abu Musa? Abu Musa said, Uthman. He said, give him the glad tidings of Jannah and tell him that he's going to be afflicted with a big musibah, big trial, and he will be killed as a shaheed. So what happened with Uthman when he got killed in his house by those people who revolted against him and those Khawarij? This was already told by who? He knew he would die as a shaheed. So if somebody says, why didn't the Sahaba support Uthman? Who told you they didn't support Uthman? But regardless of what they would have done, he would have been killed because Rasulullah told him what? You be killed. Rasulullah, he said, you would wear a garment. Do not ever take it off, even if they force you to. The garment is the Khilaf. He's the leader of the Muslims. And they wanted to take him off. And Rasulullah already told him, don't take it off. So he never stepped down because somebody could say, if Uthman just stepped down, wouldn't he be saved? He won't step down. He can't. It's prophecy of the Prophet ﷺ. It has to happen the way that Rasulullah ﷺ said it. So when we speak about the Sahaba, we have to understand that the Sahaba are pleased with Allah and Allah is pleased with them. رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. Every single person of the Sahaba is mentioned in this ayah. And there are people, Rasulullah said, Abu Bakr in Jannah, Uthman is in Jannah, Ali is in Jannah, Umar is in Jannah, Talha is in Jannah, Zubayr is in Jannah, Sa'd is in Jannah, Ibn Abi Waqqas, Abdurrahman ibn Auf is in Jannah, and Abu Ubaidah is in Jannah. Okay, so these people are, these 10 people are in Jannah. 100%, no doubt. There is no doubt. So if we come and speak about them, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to when Ammar ibn As was saying something about one of the companions, he says, do not insult my companions. Wallahi, if one of them were to spend a handful of dust for the sake of Allah, and you were to spend 2 mountains of gold, it will not equal to their hand span. One handful of spending that the Sahaba would spend. And if they pick up some dust from the ground and they give it out as, I don't know how much would that be, 10 cents, 5 cents. How much is it? I don't know. Yeah, you pick some sand from the ground and you sell it $1. He said if they pick something and they give it, it is better than one of you spending what? 2 mountains of gold. Aslan, none of us, if any of you guys ever become, mashallah, millionaire, you have 2 mountains of gold, contact me. Don't forget about me. But none of us would reach that. None of us would reach that level anyway. If we would to have 2 mountains of gold and spend it, we're not even equal to the Sahaba's handful. So there is no comparison. There is no way that we could even be equal. And the best that Allah has done to them is what? What is the best thing that Allah have done to those Sahaba? Is that they accepted Islam and was with the Prophet ﷺ. That they are Sahaba, they're chosen by Allah. Ibn Mas'ud said, Allah have looked into the hearts of all the creation. He found no heart to be softer than the heart of Muhammad ﷺ and more pure. So he chose him to carry his message. And then Allah looked into the hearts of all his creation, Arab and non-Arab, everybody. And he found no hearts to be like the heart, pure like the hearts of the companions. So he chose them to be his companions. So every single companion is what? Chosen by Allah. It's me and you, we're sitting in Davis today. We're not companions. Have you ever, wallahi, have you ever wondered why we're not there? Because we're not chosen. We're here today. So how could someone like us even dare to speak wrong or ill of the Sahaba? That's why we always remember them and say, when I first came here, I used to go out with some of the brothers who used to do Khuruj and Jama'ah and all of that. So when they used to say one of the names of the Sahaba, they would say Hadrat Umar, Hadrat Uthman. And I was like, why are you guys saying that? What is this Hadrat? And we say Sayyiduna Umar, Sayyiduna. But then I realized later that look at, it's very respectful. Very respectful. Than just saying, Abu Bakr Siddiq did this. Radiallahu anhu. Hadrat Abu Bakr, Sayyiduna Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu warḍah. This is a man that Rasulullah sallam said. Can anyone give me a hadith about Abu Bakr? Any hadith about Abu Bakr? Huh? Go ahead.
How his power is to evolve along the equals.
He said anyone does it out of arrogance but you? Okay. Huh? The Iman. Rasulullah said if you bring the Iman of Abu Bakr on one side of the scale and the rest of the Ummah till the Day of Judgment, that's all of us from the time of Abu Bakr. If you scale his Iman and all of our Iman, his Iman would overweight and overcome all our Iman. Can you imagine that? That's one person. His Iman is more than anyone. So how could someone come today who's not even, he doesn't even know how to perform wudu correctly? They're speaking about Abu Bakr Siddiq. Come on. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, Rasulullah said, if there was a prophet after me, it would be you. If there is any inspired person in this ummah, it wouldn't be anyone but Umar. How could someone dare to talk about Umar? Uthman, Rasulullah told him, he says, you're the most shy, that the angels are shy and modest of you. And he says, Wallahi, Uthman is a shaheed and he's granted Jannah and he has nothing upon him that he could do whatever he wants after today. How could someone speak about Uthman? Ali ibn Abi Talib Rasulullah told him, you are like my brother and he loves Allah and Allah and his Prophet loves him. No, Allah and his Prophet, we all love Allah and his Prophet. But Allah and the Prophet guaranteed love to the person was Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. How could someone hate or dislike or disrespect Ali ibn Abi Talib? And all the Sahaba radwanullahi alayhim. They are the reason we are here today. They are the ones who carried the Quran, the revelation of Allah to us. So we have to know their rights, respect them, honor them, love them. Loving the Sahaba is part of Iman. Like loving Ahlul Bayt is part of Iman. And by the way, Ahlul Bayt are Sahaba. This is what people don't understand. When we say Sahaba, Ahlul Bayt are included in the Sahaba. They are companions. They are the Ahlul Bayt, the family of the Prophet. And they're also Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Someone like Aisha, how could someone speak about Aisha radiallahu anha when Rasulullah sallallahu told her clearly, you are my wife in dunya and akhirah. So if someone claims that Aisha radiallahu anha is not going to Jannah, you're claiming that the Prophet is not going to Jannah. Or else how are they going to be married? Doesn't make sense. And Rasulullah told her, you are my wife in dunya and akhirah. When he was asked who do you love the most, he said Aisha. Then he said among men, he said Abu Bakr. How could someone dare to speak about Aisha radiallahu anha ardaha? Speaking about Talha and Zubayr, we already gave you that hadith. When Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu ardaha, a man came to him and he said, hey, I'm so happy today. He said, what happened? He said, I killed your enemy. He said, who? He said, Az-Zubayr. And you know, Az-Zubayr was Ali's what? Cousin. The sisters are sitting here. Brother, why? The sisters are here. You turn it off. لازم ما هو لازم التاتشز دي تمام. What were we? His cousin Zubayr. Do you know what he said? He said, I hope you understand that the Prophet ﷺ said, بشر قاتل ابن صفية بالنار. He said, Rasulullah said, give the glad tidings of hellfire to the person who kills the son of Safiya, that's Zubayr. So when he came to Ali, so happy because he was in Ali's army, and he said, I killed your enemy. He said, you're going to hellfire. So he told him, this is what I deserve? I kill the people who kill you, and you tell me I'm going to hellfire? He said, not me. Rasulullah said, tell the person who kills the Zubayr that he's going to hellfire. Very simple. Ali ibn Abi Talib took Talha on his lap, and Talha was killed in the battle of the camel. And he took him on his lap and he was wiping the dust over him, and he used to kiss him and he used to say, Wallahi, I never wanted this to happen, and inshallah we will be among the people that Allah has promised Jannah ala surur mutaqabilin. We will be facing each other on beds in Jannah. Sorry for what happened here in this life, we'll meet in Akhirah. That's it. They disputed, they had a problem. They're human beings. So anyone who speaks of the Sahaba should not speak of the Sahaba, especially the time of the fitna among the Sahaba and the conflict that happened, except if they speak with what? Piety and knowledge. If they're lacking one, then they're falling into the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's what the Shaykh said. No, also just to conclude that, knowing that they were human beings, meaning what? Every human being has shorts, faults, mistakes. Okay? And they were not protected from sins. The Sahaba were not protecting from falling into. They're human beings. They're not angels. The only ones who are protected from falling into sins are the prophets. Prophets don't sin. Okay? Everyone else, every human being does. But the Sahaba, their mistakes compared to their righteous actions and good deeds are no comparison. You can't even compare. So when you look at their faults or their shortcomings compared to what they did, someone like Khalid ibn al-Walid radiallahu anhu, every inch in his body was injured in the battlefield with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So many of them died as shuhada. And not only shuhada who were granted Jannah. Ja'far, Rasulullah said, Allah replaced him with wings to fly in Jannah. How could someone even think that to speak about the Sahaba without speaking respectfully, honoring them? So when we speak about the Sahaba, again, the time that took place, the fitna, the conflict that happened between the Sahaba, personally, I would say, if there is no need for it, pass through it, look over it. كما قال الحسن إن الله إن هذه فتنة قد عصم الله منها أسلحتنا فلنعصم منها ألسنتنا. He said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has protected our swords from it, and we were not there. Okay. Even today, the conflict between the groups and the sects in Islam, okay, and between the Sunnah and the Shia and what happened with al-Hussein. Okay, honestly, what happened with that? We were not there. We had nothing to do with al-Hussein's killing. Wallahi al-Azim, we didn't live at that. We were not even born. Even our parents, our grandparents were not even in life. You're going back to blaming history. You're putting history on us. You're blaming us for something that we had nothing to do with it. تلك أمة قد خلت لها ما كسبت ولكم ما كسبتم. This is something that passed through. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what every person did. I have no problem personally, to curse out loud in public those who killed the Hussein. No doubt. I don't even have a doubt in my heart that these people are cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why not? But don't come and bring that on me today. I have nothing, I honestly have nothing to do with it. And none of the companions were involved in the killing of al-Hussein anyway. Because people start getting mixed up between history, that they start going, they bring in people into the wrong places. Someone who died, 10 years ago, they bring him into the battle of, you tell him, hold on. The battle happened in 2020, for example. This guy died in 1999. How was he in the battle? And even if you just read through biography, you would understand that this person had nothing to do with it. Some of the names mentioned in the story of al-Hussein, these people died 3, 4, 5 years before the killing of Hussein. Khalas, this is history. We just learn about it because we want to know what happened, but move on. But we shouldn't learn about it to carry hatred or to say, oh, look who's right, who's wrong. We should have, if we were there, we would side with Ali, not would side with Talha and Zubayr. Who told you that Talha and Zubayr had an army? They didn't. They were involved into the situation because of what's going on at that time, trying to bring a solution out. Even Aisha, she never went out to fight Ali ibn Abi Talib. Wallahi, she never. She had nothing to do with the. She was in Mecca during Hajj, because Uthman got killed during Hajj time. She was in Mecca during Hajj. Talha and Zubayr. Zubayr is her brother-in-law. So when he went to her, he convinced her to come, and he said, just imagine if you come out and Muslims see you, both groups would respect you. You're the wife of Rasulullah. When both sees you, they won't fight if you're there. And she said, okay, I will do it. So you have to understand how they were thinking, even how they were thinking. Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, why was he thinking of revenge? Because he hated Ali? He had nothing to do with Ali. It was the killers of Uthman. He said, this is my cousin. And Allah said in the Quran, the person who takes revenge is a person who's a guardian. And I'm his guardian. So I'm the closest to him. I should take revenge for my cousin, for Uthman radiallahu anhu. Ali ibn Abi Talib also wanted to take revenge. Remember the story, we mentioned. But Ali ibn Abi Talib, his point was what? Let's delay the revenge. That's all. So when you speak about the Sahaba, speak in the best of manners. Do not let your tongue slip, because in the day of judgment, those Sahaba are going to come into Jannah, and we're going to be in trouble if we speak about them. Like, we want to be with them. We don't want to be pushed away from them. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So inshallah, as I mentioned at the beginning, we will start Thursday, inshallah, just for this Thursday only. We're going to do a book. We're going to read Fada'il Bayt al-Maqdis, a book written by Din al-Maqdisi, the hadith. He collected 63 hadith. So I want everybody to come out with an intention that this is as support to our brothers and sisters in Palestine and Gaza. So we're going to read those hadith for that purpose, seeking as a mean for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove that pressure away from them. So that book, I will send it inshallah tomorrow into the group, the Davis group. If everybody is in the group. If not, try to add yourself to the group, inshallah, the classes, and I'll print the brother is working on the code, the QR code for the masjid and our pages and Instagram and others. So we'll post it, inshallah. But I'll send the book. We'll come Thursday after Maghrib. Try to come, with complete wudu, dressed nicely. This is a hadith of Rasulullah, and we're coming just to read it with the purpose of making dua after it, for Allah to release the hardship away from our brothers and sisters. And it's related to that Palestine and Bayt al-Maqdis, Fada'il Bayt al-Maqdis by Imam al-Maqdisi. And inshallah, we hope to get the ijazah or the chain of it. So I'll see you inshallah just this week, just Thursday this week. We don't have classes Thursday, just this week inshallah. We'll do it as a form of reading, as the ulama used to do before, a recitation of hadith inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin, barakallah.